Good morning to everyone. My name is Joel Ocasio-Marcan, Interim Deputy Director of the Procurement Division for the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program and Mitigation Program. In this pre-proposal meeting, we're going to explain the process for the CDBG-DR MIT RFP 2022-06. Request for proposals for call center operations services. I would like to introduce the Puerto Rico Department of Housing personnel. Along with me is Catherine Vidal Perez, Technical Specialist from the Procurement Division. Also, Luis M. Restituyo Capellan from the Public Affairs Division, and Eric Enriquez Núñez from the Federal Compliance and Subrecipient Management Division. This meeting is being recorded and will be available in our CDBG-DR YouTube channel. Any questions submitted in this meeting will be answered in writing and will be published in an addendum. Any information provided in this meeting does not change the terms and conditions established in the request for proposal instructions. Also, all procurement processes shall be conducted in accordance with the terms and conditions established in the procurement manual for the CDBG-DR program to guarantee full and open competition and fair treatment of all persons or entities involved in each procurement process. The procurement manual is available at our CDBG-DR website and is incorporated by reference and made an integral part of this RFP. Nothing said in this pre-proposal meeting will change any of the terms of the RFP, except those that were written in amendment to the solicitation issued through an addendum. Now I will leave Luis Restituyo Capellan from the Public Affairs Division, who will explain to you the scope of services for this RFP.
Thank you, Joel. The Puerto Rico Department of Housing is issuing this request for proposals for the acquisition of call center operation services under the Community Development Block Grant for Disaster Recovery, Community Development Block Grant Mitigation Programs, and any other federal allocations. The call center will be in operation for the duration of the allocated funds under the CDBG-DR and CDBG-MIT grants, and any other future federal allocations under the action plans and subsequent action plans. It also seeks to select from the qualified proposers the call center providers that will aid in the Puerto Rico Department of Housing objectives of strategic preparation and development of a broad range of CDBG-DR and CDBG-MIT funded programs and any other future federal fund allocations. The call center providers will support the PRDOH with the call center operation services of the CDBG-DR and CDBG-MIT programs and any other future federal fund allocations. The Puerto Rico Department of Housing reserves the rights to retain the call center operation service of some of these programs internally and or for PRDOH partners, contractors, and or subrecipients. The Puerto Rico Department of Housing anticipates awarding the contract for a period of 3 years. The Puerto Rico Department of Housing may at his sole discretion extend the contract term or for up to additional years upon mutual written agreement of the parties. If additional CDBG-DR, CDBG-MIT, and other federal funds are allocated to Puerto Rico during the life of a contract, the staff may be assigned to work on those future federal grants awarded. There's no guarantee of a minimum level of services that may be requested by the Puerto Rico Department of Housing under this contract. The call center shall operate 7 days a week, Monday through Friday. The call center shall be in operation from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. On Saturdays and Sundays, the call center shall be in operations from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The call center should provide or maintain a toll-free number dedicated to Puerto Rico Department of Housing campaigns. The selected proposal will be directly responsible for ensuring the accuracy, timelines, and completion of all tasks assigned under this contract. The proposal should provide detailed information about experience, capacity, and qualifications of the proposer's principals, project managers, key personnel, and staff to be assigned, including degrees, certification, licenses, and years of relevant experience. Proposal shall specifically identify people currently employed by the proposers who will serve as key staff. This includes the proposer's own staff and staff from any subcontractors to be used. The proposal should demonstrate that its staff and or subcontractor staff meet desirable requirements listed below and have the necessary experience and knowledge to successfully implement and perform the task and services. Proposal shall submit to the Puerto Rico Department of Housing an initial organizational chart detailing the identity of each person who shall perform any of the services required. The proposer organization and staffing plan shall specifically include the required number of personnel, role, and responsibilities of each person on the project, name of the resource or subcontractor, resume or professional information, their planned level of effort, their anticipated duration of involvement, and their on-site availability. The proposal should demonstrate their ability to adequately staff and scale each functional area to maintain agreed upon service level throughout the life of the contract. The proposal must have the facilities in Puerto Rico to carry out the duties related to this contract. The proposal also must detail its facility plan for a call center services functions and must be able to meet a possible go-live date of 5 days after the resulting contract is signed. The proposal should be able to work with previous vendor to ensure a smooth transition without disruption of services. A more detailed description of the CDBG-DR and CDBG-MIT programs is included in the action plans approved by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, available at the CDBG website that will be shown later on this presentation.
We thank you, Mr. Restituyo, for the information. Now continuing with the procurement process, the RFP documents acquisition can be downloaded at our webpage, cdbg-dr.pr.gov, as shown on the screen. The insurance requirements, for the insurance requirements, the proposal shall be aware that in case of resulting selected for the award of this RFP, proposer must have a minimum of required insurance policies and coverages. For details regarding insurance requirements, refer to attachment 4. Now with the important dates for this RFP, we are going to go to the submission of questions and requests for clarifications. They must be sent on or before July 6th of 2022. Responses to questions and requests for clarification will be on July 14th, 2022. Proposals due date, electronic submission only from August 1st, 2022 at 9 a.m. The site will open and it will be closed at August 3, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. Submission of inquiries and addenda. Each prospective proposer shall submit all questions in writing on and before July 6, 2022 to the CDBG-DR email address. Responses to all proposers' questions will be answered by Addenda and will be posted in the CDBG-DR website. All documents related to this acquisition process, including the addendas issued by the Puerto Rico Department of Housing, are and will be available for download at the CDBG-DR website. All proposers are responsible to monitor the CDBG-DR website for any issued addenda in this RFP. Proposal electronic submission. Proposals are to be submitted on the due date stated in section 4.3 on this RFP instructions. Responses to this RFP submitted after the prescribed deadline will not be allowed. Submissions of responses to the RFP will only be accepted by electronic means. Proposers are advised that the PRDOH will neither require nor accept physical proposal submissions. If proposals are submitted in both electronic and in paper formats, the PRDOH will only consider the electronic format for evaluation. The proposer will receive access to submit the electronic proposals after registration process is completed through the CDBG-DR website. At the scheduled due dates for electronic proposal submission, a link button will be enabled to provide access to the registration form. Proposers should complete all the required fields in the form. Access to upload the electronic proposal will commence 3 business days before the scheduled due date and time. Evaluation criteria. The evaluation committee will evaluate responsive proposals in accordance with the criteria listed below. The criteria below are listed in order of importance. Professional qualifications and experience of the proposer to successfully perform the services required in this RFP, as evidenced by the successful implementation of similar programs in large complex public organizations, preferably state government and municipalities. Professional qualifications and specialized experience of the proposed key staff personnel as evidenced by relevant experience to the role proposed. Quality of the proposed approach and its relevance to the services described in this RFP, including implementation schedule and understanding of the PRDOH goals. Capacity to the key staff personnel and the ability to commit adequate time to effectively perform the services in the role assigned with the required time frame. Financial stability of the proposer and its capacity to effectively perform the services. Level, quality, and relevancy of the participation by Section 3 business concern and MPE/WPE registered Puerto Rico business. Lastly, reasonable of overall price, allocation of effort, and overall value offered. It's important that all companies be registered in SAM. The proposer and first-tier subcontractor must be registered in the system of award management at the time of the proposal submission or initiate the registration proposed right after the bid submission. For more information about the system of award management, go to the website as you see on screen, www.sam.gov/SAM. There is no registration fee to create or renew, update your organization's information on SAM. Awards will only be issued to entities that are cleared and not ineligible for award of a contract due to suspension, debarment, or HUD impose limited denial of participation. Now with you, I live Eric Enriquez Nunez from the Federal Compliance and Subrecipient Management Division for an introduction of Section 3 and MWBE business.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the space to present compliance and labor standards requirements. This presentation is prepared in English. However, should anyone need this presentation in Spanish, you can request using the protocols for this RFP. I am representing the Department of Housing Federal Compliance team led by Maria del Carmen Figueroa. Today we will discuss as part of our agenda an overview of compliance roles and responsibilities. We will also cover some tools that are available online. We will also talk about documenting efforts, taking advantage of training that's made available, and reporting requirements, as well as frequently asked questions. In this presentation, we will be discussing Section 3 training, hiring, and contracting opportunities, minority and women-owned business participation, and fair housing and equal opportunity. Contractors or subrecipients using CDBG-DR or CDBG-MIT funding have certain roles and responsibilities. These include assigning staff who will attend the day-to-day implementation of federal compliance requirements, attending trainings and workshops, using tools and templates, executing the activities, and completing documentation that's required. You can also participate in Department of Housing sponsored technical assistance sessions. You must complete quarterly reporting and comply with the reporting requirements. The procurement package contains language that offers contractors the ability to seek bonus points. Please remember to use the references and the templates that are made available and that we will be discussing in this presentation. Proposers seeking Section 3 bonus points should provide their self-certifications and sufficient evidence for how they qualify as a Section 3 business. The Department of Housing offers a template on their website. Proposers who are seeking MBE or WBE bonus points should provide a copy of their MWBE certification to provide evidence of this status. The certificates provided should show the dates and indicate that they are currently active. The procurement package contains sections that speak to the applicability and the requirements for MWBE. Within those sections, you will find helpful links to online resources that are made available, such as the policy guide. Procurement packages also contain language for Section 3 under 24 CFR 75. Although for this particular procurement, the contractor awarded will not need to comply with Section 3. However, you may find the information useful if you are seeking to prove Section 3 status to earn potential bonus points. Let's talk about Section 3. Section 3 is a federal requirement from the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968. This requirement states that we should provide to the greatest extent feasible job training, employment, contracting, and other economic opportunities generated by this HUD financial assistance to be directed to low and very low income persons and businesses. The Department of Housing makes available a Section 3 policy guide on their website, both in English and in Spanish. Contractors must read and implement activities as applicable and necessary. They also are responsible for their subcontractors assuring that benchmarks are met. For Section 3 projects, 24 CFR 75 has established the following benchmarks. 25% of the total labor hours for a project should be work hours of Section 3 workers. And from that 25%, 5% of the total labor hours should be work hours of targeted Section 3 workers. Let's talk about the definition of a Section 3 business. A Section 3 business refers to a business concern meeting at least one of the following criteria, which is documented within the last 6 months. The business is at least 51% owned and controlled by low or very low income persons. It could also be a business that has at least 51% ownership and controlled by a public housing resident or residents who currently live in Section 8 assisted housing. It could also be a business that has over 75% of the labor hours performed for that business over the prior 3-month period by Section 3 workers. In this slide, we're going to look at the definition of a Section 3 worker. A Section 3 worker can be any worker who fits or, when hired within the last 5 years, fit at least one of the following categories. The worker's income for the previous or annualized calendar year is below the income limit established by HUD. It could also be a worker who is employed by a Section 3 business concern. Or the worker is a youth build participant. Now let's talk about what a targeted Section 3 worker is. A Section 3 targeted worker for community development financial assistance projects is a person who is employed by a Section 3 business. It could also be a person who currently fits or when hired fit at least one of the following categories as documented within the past 5 years. Someone living within the service area or the neighborhood of the project as defined in 24 CFR 75.5 or a youth build participant. The neighborhood or service area for a targeted Section 3 worker is that in which you can find at least 5,000 persons within a 1-mile radius of the project. If there are less than 5,000 persons within that 1-mile radius, you can expand that radius until you have 5,000 persons around the Section 3 covered project site. Each year, HUD releases new income limits. These income limits typically come out around April. The latest income limits for 2022 are made available on the slide. The Department of Housing has created various forms for helping maintain compliance. There is a Section 3 plan that can be used by contractors or subrecipients. There are also Section 3 self-certification forms. And finally, there is a form to help you document your efforts. Let's take a closer look at your Section 3 plan. This document helps you identify new hiring needs, subcontracting needs. It helps you plan your outreach efforts and assists your coordinators in identifying the day-to-day activities. It helps you define compliant procedures, and it helps you understand your reporting requirements. You can use the link on the slide to visit the website and download a Section 3 plan template. In this slide, we want to focus on the Section 3 self-certification forms. These useful tools help you uncover if workers or subcontracting businesses meet the income thresholds required. HUD offers also a business registry. This registry allows you to register yourself as a Section 3 business. The registry also has a tool that helps serve folks looking for Section 3 business databases. We will now turn our attention to minority and women-owned business compliance. There are various regulations that call for the inclusion of minorities and women business enterprises. 2 CFR 200.321, as well as Executive Orders 11625, 12138, and 12432 establish the participation of MWBE firms, which seek to ensure that when possible, contracts and other economic opportunities funded in whole or in part with federal housing and community development assistance are directed to minority business enterprises and women business enterprises. The Department of Housing has established an MWBE policy guide. This is available on the website in both English and Spanish. You can access those documents using the link on the slide. Let's look at what a minority business enterprise is. An MBE is defined as a business which is at least 51% owned, operated, and controlled on a daily basis by one or more American citizens of the following ethnic minority and/or gender and/or military veteran classifications: African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, Native American, Hasidic Jew, persons with disabilities, and other individuals who can prove social and economic disadvantage. Women business enterprises, or WBEs, are businesses that are at least 51% owned and controlled by one or more women. The owners must be U.S. citizens or legal resident aliens, whose business formation and principal place of business are here in the U.S. or its territories, and whose management and daily operation is controlled by women. The MWBE policy guide will identify that there are goals which apply to professional services, purchasing supplies, and construction contracting. There is a total of 20% minimum participation goal. This 20% is comprised of 10% for women-owned businesses and 10% for minority-owned businesses. Contractors are expected to perform good faith efforts for contracting, subcontracting, and purchasing opportunities of $10,000 or more during the life of the contract. The Department of Housing has also created various forms for helping maintain compliance with MWBE. One of those is the MWBE Utilization Plan. This document template allows contractors or subrecipients to identify how they plan on being in compliance with these contracting goals. There is also a waiver form. This document allows contractors or subrecipients to identify if they meet the requirements to waive their goals for MWBE. Let's look at the MWBE Utilization Plan. This tool helps you compile data for your subcontracting. It helps you identify what needs you may have. It helps hold discussions on creating supplier and contractor listings, and it provides awareness of meeting the goal for the contract and tracking. You can use the link on the slide to go to the website and download the plan template. Let's review how you should complete your MWBE Utilization Plan. The Department of Housing Utilization Plan template can be used throughout the life cycle of your contract. Completing the plan is pretty easy. You should read the general instructions in row 3 and complete sections A, B, and F from the document. Complete the information requested in the yellow cells. When we talk about certified minority or women-owned businesses, we are referring to those who have filed applications with federal entities such as SBA and others that you see here on the slide. Businesses who are certified can provide proof of completing an application process to be officially recognized as a certified minority or women-owned business. If you are registered as an MWBE, you should provide your valid certificate or other evidence in response to this RFP. In this section, we will be discussing how to complete your efforts and quarterly reporting. In order for you to report your efforts, the Department of Housing provides a tool. This tool helps you document and identify how often you are seeking interactions with Section 3 businesses and MWBE businesses. The quarterly reporting form allows for you to share and report your data with the Department of Housing. This allows the agency to fulfill oversight responsibilities and monitor the progress throughout the year. The Department of Housing's quarterly reporting form allows for the user to capture multiple compliance areas all in one Excel form. Section 3 data is collected. MWBE data is collected as well. FHEO information is also documented within the report. And finally, for those who have construction projects, there is a report for Davis-Bacon Unfound Workers Efforts Reporting. Awarded contractors will be responsible for reporting 4 times a year, on April 5th, July 5th, October 5th, and January 5th. This ensures that you are meeting benchmarks and documenting your efforts. The quarterly reporting template is also available on the Department of Housing website. Let's briefly discuss FHEO. Your RFP package will also contain a model contract which outlines fair housing and equal opportunity areas of compliance. Contractors are responsible for ensuring compliance with federal civil rights and fair housing through their contractors, subcontractors, and so forth, ensuring that all necessary efforts are being made. The Fair Housing Act and Sections 109 and 504 prohibit discrimination against the following protected classes of people: race, color, national origin, religion, sex, age, familial status, disability, gender identity, and sexual orientation. The Fair Housing Act is part of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. There are many executive orders, laws, and statutes that govern the non-discrimination of protected classes to ensure equal opportunity for individuals in accessing federally funded programs. Equal opportunity is afforded to protected classes through a number of these federal laws and executive orders. The Department of Housing has published policy documents attending FHEO as well as Language Access Plan. These policies must be implemented by contractors and subrecipients. They are publicly available online in both English and Spanish. You are encouraged to click on the links and access the resources available. As a recipient of HUD financial assistance, the Department of Housing must ensure that all programs affirmatively further access to fair housing and that the programs provide equal opportunity for participation and employment. Reasonable accommodations are changes made to policies, practices, services, and structures, or modifications to afford equal opportunity to individuals with disabilities. The costs associated with providing reasonable accommodations and modifications are to be incurred by programs receiving federal funding. HUD contemplates these additional costs as necessary to ensure that the programs and activities it funds do not discriminate against people with disabilities. The slide contains a link for you to access the reasonable accommodation page on the Department of Housing website. Limited English proficiency refers to a person's limited ability to read, write, speak, or understand English. Due to Puerto Rico's high Spanish-speaking population, all entities and contractors using the CDBG-DR funding must seek to ensure that both a person's limited ability to read, write, speak, or understand English or Spanish will not place them at a disadvantage in the participation of programs. Let's briefly discuss some common, frequently asked questions. Can a business be both Section 3 and MWBE? The answer is yes. A business or a contractor can be both because these compliance areas are actually separate. Section 3 identifies the level of incomes to determine the status. MWBE uses race and gender information to qualify a business. If I am not planning on subcontracting, do I still need to complete documents? The answer is yes. You should still submit your MWBE utilization plan, the documentation of efforts template, and your quarterly reports. If Section 3 doesn't apply to my contract, do I still have to complete the quarterly report? The answer is yes. You will have to complete the MWBE portion of the report and the portion of the report that attends to FHEO. If I'm either an MBE or WBE, do I fulfill the total goals? You may have safe harbor for one of the goals for MWBE participation of 10%, but you will still have an additional 10% goal to show good faith efforts for any subcontracting or purchasing you perform with the CDBG-DR and CDBG-MIT funding. What happens if I don't fulfill the goals before the end of my contract? All awarded contractors should perform and document their efforts. The Department of Housing has developed templates discussed in this presentation that help you complete the exercise. You can submit a waiver before the end of your contract for approval. This waiver request should be submitted with the efforts and justification as appropriate. Thank you for attending today's training. We hope you found the material helpful. Please remember to direct all your questions through the established protocols for this procurement. Thank you to the procurement team for allowing us to present this material. I will stop sharing the presentation so you can continue with the session. Procurement team, I'm handing over the presentation to you now.
Thank you to all the PRDOH team. Thank you for all attendees, for all the attendees here in this meeting. This will be all for today. As we said, we are going to answer the questions you've been submitting. We'll be answering them in an addendum. Please check the dates, the important dates that this RFP has, so you can comply with them, and we can receive your proposal at the corresponding time. Again, thank you very much for your attendance, and that will be all for today. Thank you.